Hiya folks, welcome back to the Border Corner. Gonna just have a quick look around what's been going on with the birds this week. Gonna take a close look at one of the greenfinch cocks that I've got, and then talk a little bit about one of the tasks that I've done in the bird room this week with the border cocks too. So let's crack on. Something that I wanted to say about from a personal perspective with regards to the shows last year. I think the show season for me obviously was very successful, but I'd just like to say a massive shout out to everybody that puts the shows on. There's a lot of hard work goes into arranging a show. The committees that sit to organise what's going to go on and what needs to be done and so on and so forth. In the lead up to the show itself, usually the night before the show, birds start arriving and the staging has all got to be set up and so on. So these guys that do this work for us so that we can show our birds, they do a tremendous amount. And as I say, I just wanted to, shout out and say thanks everybody. Us exhibitors, we really appreciate the work that you put in. Someone messaged me the other day, well, it was a couple of weeks back now actually, when we had that really bad cold spell, when it was, the numbers were really low, to ask me what I do about heating and do I keep my birds in a heated bird room. So I thought I'd just mention what I do. I've got the tubular heaters. I've got three 3-foot long tubular heaters. I do use these in the bird room, but my first year, I had them on throughout the winter. I was trying to keep the temperature around about sort of 5 or 6 degrees, and the heaters are on all the time. And I don't know if it really made any difference to the birds. So what I've done since then is I don't have the heaters on as a matter of course, unless it's going to be very, very cold. We had the -10, didn't we? I put the heaters on then, and it kept the temperature up to about -2, I think it was, in the bird room. Other than that, I'm not putting heaters on until we get to the breeding season. So as I obviously start my birds early, I'm hoping to start pairing up 1st of March, so 4 weeks away for me. If I do get any hens that go down on eggs or start having chicks and then we get a sudden cold snap, if we get minus numbers, there's a chance that might kill any chicks or make any eggs. They just won't be any good. There's a word for that now, I can't remember what it is. So what I do then is I do put the heating on then just to try and keep the temperature up. But that's the only time now that I use heating. Other than that, the birds are in the bird room and they have to, they get used to the different temperatures. So I wonder whether that makes a good difference actually, because if it's always a kind of a warm environment, any bugs and parasites, etc., in the bird room, they might not die. Whereas if the temperature does get down a little bit, it might actually have something to do with keeping on top of some of these things and keeping them away. I also, as you can see, I leave my bird room door open nearly all the time. The only time the bird room door is shut is if it's raining, because I don't like the humidity to build up in here too much during the winter months, because I don't want that to affect the birds' respiratory systems. So I leave the door open all the time. Even if it's down, at the moment it's 8.5 degrees in the bird room. I think it's about 5 outside. So the insulation I've got in here, the lights, the birds themselves, all that emanate a little bit of heat, which pushes the temperature up in here a little bit. So I leave the bird room door open to let as much fresh air into the room as I can. And that's open, as I say, that's open all day until about 3 o'clock. And then as the lights, the light nights start coming in, I'll start extending how long that door stays open for. So, so that's what I do with heating. So thanks for your question. Okay, so just a quick look at the cocks. Now, I did some trimming of the cockbirds yesterday. I'm just going to drop a video in here of what you do when you trim a border canary. So this is a video I did a couple of years ago, but I'm just going to drop it in here so that you can have a look if you've not seen it before. And then we'll carry on back with this guy when you finish that. Hello folks, I'm back again with another quick video. The reason I'm posting again today is because I had quite a lot of feedback on the last video about trimming, and a few fanciers have said for me to try smaller scissors, that I might find it a bit easier and to get some manicure scissors. So I'm going to give that a go on this unflighted self-green hen. Now this is a special bird for me because she's actually the first boarder that I ever bred. She's that hen that I put in the cage on the last video, that she's going to be paired back to her father. So she's the first bird that I ever bred. And when she was in the nest, my soon-to-be daughter-in-law paid us a visit. And Beth decided that with its spiky hair, this little chick reminded her of Albert Einstein. So this bird has been affectionately called Albert since then. So even though it's a hen, it's always going to be Albert. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to give it a trim using these smaller scissors that I've got now. So hopefully, sorry, it's out of focus. Hopefully we'll find these are a bit better. So here we go. I'm not sure if that's guide feathers or not now. See if we can get a slightly better view. No, I don't think so. They can come off. There we go, we can see the guide feathers coming through. So I'm going to keep going. Somebody else, Alan, actually said, thanks Alan, maybe take a little more feather away. So I'm trying that now as well, and I'm taking a little bit more off. So still following the very slow, steady approach. Now we can see the guide feathers now. A little more off this side, I think. So we can see that she's a long way from being in breeding condition. No swelling around here, this area at all. So I'm definitely taking more feather away this time than last time. I think I'll leave it at that. Maybe just a little more here, just take some of that away. Now the guide feathers don't appear to be very long on this hen, so maybe that's because of her age. I don't know whether on a flighted bird the guide feathers will be a little longer. She's the first unflighted bird that I've trimmed, so I'll know better next time when I do the flighted birds. So there we go. And I have to say that is so much easier with these little scissors. So thank you for those folks who suggested it, and thanks Alan for recommending that I get some manicure scissors. There we go. So that little hen is done, Albert. So there you go, Beth. Your little bird is done. I'm not going to do her claws because they don't look very long. She's a unflighted hen, so you wouldn't expect there to be too much on the length of her claws. So I'm going to put her back in the aviary. And there we go. So as you can see, this he's got a slightly shorter tail. So I've nipped a little bit off the tail. But other than that, he doesn't look any different. Obviously, you can't see underneath. But I'm actually keeping in the bird room for this breeding season. I'm keeping 7 cockbirds. So that was the clear yellow cockbird there. He's the one that came in last year that did really well for me. Bred some really nice hens off of him. Here we got a variegated buff cockbird. Super bird, this one. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can produce. This is a 3-pass dark buff cockbird. He won Best Unflighted for me last year at the Scottish National, and he was second several times behind the 3-pass dark cock, which I'll show you in a sec. This is my second clear yellow. He is a son of the clear yellow that I showed you at the start of this clip. He was 3rd at the British border. So he's obviously taken some of his dad's genes, and he's done a really good job with them. So this is the 3-parts dark cockbird, yellow 3-parts dark. He's the champion. I say champion, he's not a champion, is he? Because he's a novice, but he's a champion for me. He won 3 shows last year. So I'm hoping this year that he can raise some chicks for me. And then the last one is the variegated cockbird, white cockbird. And he's going to be the anchor. Hopefully he'll be the anchor to a new line of allieds for me this year. So as you can see on all of these birds, they all look a bit stumpy where they've had their tail shortened. Their claws have been clipped as well. And they've had their vents trimmed to get rid of a lot of that really thick, heavy feathering. When you do a buff bird, the amount of feather that you have to cut off is quite extraordinary. So there we go. So they're my cockbirds for this year. I've started the birds in January. I started the birds on their slight change to their diet. So throughout January, I was giving the birds 1 finger draw of conditioned seed a week, and 1 finger draw of the soft food mix a week, and also 1 finger draw of hemp for the cocks and Niger for the hens. So that was what they've had throughout January, as well as having the normal fully. I don't dilute the breeders mix from 1st of January. I just give my birds 100% breeders mix as well. You'll remember throughout November and December, for all those birds that weren't being shown, their diets went onto a quite highly diluted breeders mix. It was 80% plain canary and 20% breeders. So from the 1st of January, yeah, they get full breeders mix again. Now we're into February today. That will go up. I'll double that. So it would be 2 finger draws of conditioned seed, 2 finger draws of egg food, and 2 finger draws of the hemp and Niger. I'll also start increasing the greens as well. I should have said in January I was giving the birds greens once a week, but now as we move into February, I'll be giving the birds greens twice a week as well. So that's mainly going to be broccoli, but I might give them some kale if some kale's available as well, mix it up a little bit. They're both superfood, so they're both really good for the birds. So I'll start them off with that this month as well. I just also, some really good news. I wanted to mention again about the donation scheme, low-cost scheme that I've been running. I think we've got 9 or 10 newcomers this year that have taken up boarders. And some of those had already had some canaries and were adding boarders to their collection, and then a few of them were starting up afresh. So massive thanks to the breeders that have helped me out. There's some champion breeders that have helped me out from all over the country. We've managed to do this from all over the country, so England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. Lots of people have been involved. We've got 10 newcomers to boarders for 2025. So really hope that we can, these guys manage to breed some birds and get some newcomers coming to the show benches. Massive thanks to the champion breeders that gave birds free of charge for the novices. There's a couple of novices that actually paid for some birds at a much reduced price so that they could get their foot on the ladder. I showed you Tracy last time out, or a couple of weeks back now. I showed you a picture of Tracy, and she went to see Sean with her couple of pairs. I've got a photo here of Dave with some boarders that he's picked up. And the second one, this photo is Brian and Gary. And you can see Brian on the left, he's really chuffed with the birds that he's getting as well. So let's keep this going. Let's do it again this year. I've had a message from a champion breeder that's told me that he's got some surplus birds that are available around the Oxford area. So if you are around Oxford and you are a novice or a newcomer and you'd like to start with boarders, give me a shout, and we'll see what we can do to help you as well. But yeah, let's keep it going. It's really working. So nothing too much to say about the hens. They're in their aviary, having a lot of flying about. I don't know if this is going to come out very well because it's quite sunny out there today. So you can see, I've put the new luminised light in. You can just see it on the top there. Sorry, I'm trying to do this video. It's a bit crooked. The luminised light has gone in at the top. And then I've got these two perches, which are 12 inches below the light. So that's the optimum distance away for the birds to get the most benefit of the UVB lights rays that are being produced. So, but yeah, we'll do more of a focus on the hens when I get nearer to starting to pair them up, so I can show you the things that I'm going to be doing with them. So I thought we'd have a closer look at one of my greenfinches. This is one of the greenfinch cocks. Obviously in the wrong sort of showcase. This is a budgie showcase, I think. So that's obviously totally wrong. I don't have any, I think it's a pattern 3, is that right? The terminology is lost on me a little bit at the moment for the exhibiting and so on. So, but yeah, so I need to get some of those. I don't have any of those. So if anybody's got any show cages that I could use for the greenfinches that they'd be happy to sell, please give me a shout and either comment on here or send me an email. Yeah, so yeah, I think this is probably his first, other than when he was brought down to me. I didn't go and collect him, a friend brought him to me. So I don't know how much time he'd spent in the show cage. So he's one of last year's birds. You can see he's got a red ring on. So yeah, so this is my first look. All you native experts, I would really appreciate some feedback on what I've got here. you know, is this an exhibition type or quality of greenfinch, or is this just going to be the sort of greenfinch that's going to get me started off with greenfinches and used to breeding them? So please let me know what you think. So here we go. This week I'm showing you the first one of my 2 cock greenfinches. That's it for this week's, folks. My spaniel is running around with a ball in his mouth, which is why you can hear that rather strangled sound coming from the garden. So yeah, that's it for this week. Just going to carry on with the same thing now for the next 4 weeks until we get to March. And then I'll start increasing the condition seed again and all the other things, bits and pieces again as well. And we might be able to start pairing some of the birds up. So thanks for watching. Keep on birding. I'll see you in the next one.